Hey, boys and girls. So I wanted to take some time to talk to you guys about the types of faults there are. And these faults don't always create earthquakes, but it's very important to know about the different types of faults because they can create earthquakes, they can create volcanoes, or they can even create new land. So the first one is our normal fault, and our normal fault is right here. Our normal fault slides down. It looks like it slides downward. But what it's really doing is if you take your hands like this, and I want everybody to take their hands and put kind of your knuckles together, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pull it apart. And what's happening is it's called tension. Tension is like a rubber band. When you stretch a rubber band over and over again, well, when you stretch it out really far, what happens on the inside? It gets really thin, right? Sooner or later, what's going to happen? Sooner or later, if you keep pulling that, it's going to snap. And when it snaps, that is your energy being released. And so sometimes when it comes out very little, very little, like this. But over time, it's going to come out down here, and sooner or later, it's going to snap, release energy, and then you get an earthquake. The second fault is this reverse fault. And the reverse fault, which I'll show you, is this. The reverse fault moves just like the normal fault, but is in the opposite direction. So a reverse fault, take your hands again, and hold it like this. But this time I want you to go up and over. Okay, up and over. And then I want you to kind of push your hands together a little bit. Push them together, kind of like, like you're pushing on them. And then slowly move up. And then soon enough, your hand's going to get to the top. And you can't just go like this because you're pushing. If I just do this, yeah, I can just do that. But if I'm pushing, that tension that I have is going to end up doing this. And when you see my hands move, that shake, that is actually what we call the earthquake. And this is from what we call compression. Okay, like a trash compactor that pushes the trash down and makes it really flat or really small. That is like a reverse fault. The strike slip fault is the third one. It is the most popular one in California because the strike slip fault is what we know of the San Andreas fault. The strike slip fault is the fault that goes back and forth next to each other. So again, with our two hands, we're going to put our knuckles together. And notice when you do this, they kind of get stuck on your knuckles. Their knuckles kind of get stuck. Every time you get stuck, that's a little earthquake. But sometimes they get stuck and they can't move. Like right now, I'm pushing and I'm trying to get through and I move a little bit. There's your earthquake. So they might slide back and forth, but they don't slide fast like that. They slide very little. So sometimes I might get a little bump, but sometimes if I'm pushing hard enough, it's going to slide. Okay, so that is called a strike slip fault. So again, we had a normal fault, we have a reverse fault, and then we have a strike slip fault, which I just do it like this. Okay, now if you'll notice, the one that hurts the most is the strike slip fault, and that is the one that causes the most earthquakes. Reverse fault also causes a lot of earthquakes. It causes the most destructive earthquakes. But reverse faults can also create mountains. So if you take your fingers and hold them flat and you push, I can only push so long before my fingers start to go up. Okay, so sometimes faults come together instead of like this. Okay, they come together and they just push up and create mountains. When a fault comes out like this, sometimes it doesn't go downward, sometimes it just goes straight out. When it does that, a lot of times we see those under the ocean floor, and when they pull out, then there's magma underneath from the mantle, and the magma comes up. Well, it's cooler at the crust, so it cools and becomes new land. Okay, so I hope that was a great explanation for you and you understand the three types of faults. Have a good day.